Hey guys, welcome back to another video to my channel. This once again we'll be covering Lord of the Mysteries Volume 8, and I know it has been quite a long of time since I uploaded my last video. However, I was pretty busy and I could not actually upload due to personal circumstances. However, I'm back and I will be posting more Lord of the Mysteries content and many more content of reviews of books and such that you want me to review. Comment them down. So let's get into it. Lord of the Mysteries Volume 8, the final volume. So, after thousands of pages of complex conspiracies, hidden chords, and more tarot meetings than I can count, Lord of the Mysteries Volume 8, The Fool, brings the journey of Klein Moretti to a close, and what a ride it's been. This volume wraps up Book 1 in Lord of the Mysteries series, and as a long-time follower of Klein's journey from a normal human being to something beyond human comprehension, I've got a lot to say. Now, this section will include what I've liked about the stories. As always, in my opinion, the ending of the book itself was satisfying. Let's start with what the volume does right, and the ending is genuinely satisfying. Unlike many long series that fumble the landing, the Lord of the Mysteries manages to tie up many of its long running threads while still leaving enough unanswered questions to keep you itching for more. It's both an ending and a beginning, exactly what a final volume of a major story should be. Uh, as I've said in my review of this, a lot of books that I will not name do fumble at the end, like the last chapter or the last arc or such. Even major animes, mangas, and such do that. Web novels are massively famous for doing that, to fumble the ending at the end. However, Lord of the Mysteries is one of the few books that does not do that, and it genuinely leaves you with a satisfying ending that you will remember as pretty satisfying, likable, and such. Nextly, the across the entire book, most of the characters continue to shine, whether it's a bizarre mix of personalities from the Terror Club, like Algar, Leonard, Emlyn, Force, Joe, and Derek himself, and or Klein himself, or Klein's various personalities. The cast brings high energy and unpredictability. Even when some characters only get limited page time, they leave a lasting impression. This is That's what I especially like about Lord of the Mysteries. Once again, a lot of web novels have characters that are pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of things, are not important, as they're forgotten immediately after the arc has ended. However, Lord of the Mysteries is able to push past that and create lasting moments for the characters that only have a few pages of screen time. The fight scene. Next, breathtaking fights. What Another thing that I like about the breathtaking fights. The fight scenes are horrifying in the best sense of way. They're strange, chaotic, and filled with this underlying dread that only Cuttlefish seems to pull off so consistently in this book. The stakes feel real. The power system is, although was cryptic, is now fully understood by us, so we know how horrifying the powers can be and what the limits of such powers can entail. And the sense of cosmic horror is dialed all the way up to 11. I would say it's past 11 and 10 by this point. It's like 20. Like that. Some of the cosmic powers are like seriously horrifying, and I'm not talking about Aman this time. I'm talking about those who have read this book up till the end of book 1. You guys would know how horrifying some of the powers from LOTM are. The last thing that I would say that I liked about the book itself and the final volume is Klein. Klein has been a joy to follow throughout this book. His internal monologue, his humor, and his descent into the madness of God, it's all compelling. He feels, I would say, pretty human, even if by the end of the book he is anything but that. However, I would say that, as I said in my first video on Volume 1 at Lord of Mysteries, uh, that I think what it lacks was what the anime or donghua did right. If you guys watched the first two six first till six the episode 6 of the Lord of Mysteries, the teacher, what it does right is actually show why Klein wants to return, as the book itself really does that. It does not show us why he wants to return back to it. Of course, it tells us once, but never again. It's hard to actually empathize with his desire to go home or his care for his family, because we don't really get that in the book itself. Like, we rarely actually even hear about Klein's parents or his background or what he used to do. A lot of the information we got about Klein from when he was on Earth was from interviews that Cuttlefish did. So yeah, that's things that I would say that Cuttlefish could have improved upon, and I think he did in the donghua. Now on to the things that I disliked. The pacing was too fast. Like, if volume 1 of the book was slow and meticulous world building and such, and at times pretty very slow, and some things could have been cut out, the Fool, or volume 8, is the hyperactive twin of it. Rushes through major events at breakneck speed. There's barely room to breathe between revelations, and while that does keep things exciting, it also makes some of the payoff feel a bit unearned. If you watched the last video that I've covered on volume 7, you would know how I dislike the fight between Zaratul and Kain. Like, Zaratul has been a villain that has been set up since volume 1, an antagonist that has been set up since volume 1, and I believe the fight itself did not even last more than 2 to 3 pages. Like, the fight itself did not last more than 2 chapters, I believe. That's why I was a bit sad and confused at the speed at which this volume ended. Like, we blew past the last 2 to 3 sequences of the full pathway, and as such it does not have that emotional payoff that you need to feel after the plot threads have ended. That's why I believe the Cuttlefish could have pushed the chapters a bit more. However, I do still enjoy the ending, and the ending is still satisfying even at this speed, but it could have been better. Now, as I've talked about the characters in the pro section, I still have a lot to talk about them. As much as I love the cast, there's no denying that some of them were left underdeveloped. Algar, Catalaya, Emlyn, Joe, and many more that had the potential, but Cuttlefish just didn't give them time to grow. They just felt like tools for the plot, then evolving characters in their own right. It felt like it was a shame, that especially considering how fascinating some of their setups are. Like, I believe especially Algar, the person, this third person we meet in the whole book itself, and we don't really get a lot about him. Like, Audrey gets a lot. When I mean a lot, I mean a lot of time and screen time to evolve as a character. Like, and as many of you who have watched my last 7 videos know, why I hate Forrest Wall as a character is because how much screen time she takes and does not evolve as a character. She is the same as she was at the beginning of the series when she was introduced. However, and that screen time takes away from the screen time from other characters that are more important of that volume, and I believe Algar was that person who should have received more screen time. And I know Algar was supposed to die in the last volume, as said by Cuttlefish in his one of his interviews. However, I still believe that even then the payoff is that would have been interesting, as we didn't get enough screen time from Algar himself to have that connection or bond with him to feel sad if he died. Like when or Neil dies or Dunn died, they had screen time so that we could feel sad. I did that, but Algar just did not have enough screen time for that. Like he does, and I still enjoy him as a character, but he just did not evolve as much. So, Volume 8, The Fool, is it? I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's still a fitting conclusion to one of the most unique Chinese fantasy series out there. Klein's Journey, maybe, or but there are many more mysteries that linger that will be followed up on Koi, Circle of Inevitability, the book to the second book that I have read and I'm still reading. So I wait for those reviews. If you followed this series this far, you'll walk away satisfied and maybe just a little haunted. So, what did what did you think of the final volume? Was Klein's ending what you expected? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe for more breakdown of weird fiction.